my name is Madison Fitzpatrick and welcome to Info Simcoe. Today we have a special guest, Orillia Mayor Don McIsaac. Don, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, great to be with you, Madison, and your viewers.
Awesome.
Welcome.
So let's just get a backstory of you and your family and how that influenced you to want to run for mayor.
Sure. Well, I've always had an interest in politics. Both my parents were mayors of Orillia at one point. I went to typical upbringing, played hockey, flipped burgers at Weber's in the summer. I graduated with a BA in history and got my CPA. Then I was always interested in politics, but never got engaged until I just recently returned to Orillia.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that. You went to the USA to do some work?
Yes, I did. I had a CPA and I went to the States more than 20 years ago, and the work I did was turning companies around that would get in trouble with the banks, and they would have a workout, and some would, I did 11 of them, 10 of them made it, one did not, but it was just very interesting work. It taught you how to build teams, how to identify problems and solve problems other people's couldn't. So it was an interesting experience for sure.
And when did you come back to Canada?
So I came back I bought a house in October in Orillia, and we moved back here in January of 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what made you want to come back to Orillia specifically?
It's my home. It's where I was born and raised. I have family there. I have a lot of friends there. It's just the place is just home.
Awesome. So how was it growing up with having two parents that were mayor of Orillia?
It was interesting. We were a large Catholic family. I had 3 brothers, 3 sisters, so there were 7 of us. So there was never any shortage of people to debate or argue or fight with. So that was interesting. My parents instilled values in me in terms of how to build teams, how to work with integrity, how to do the right thing, and just do the right thing is just an important thing with me.
Mm-hmm. And how long did they serve as mayor?
So my father was mayor in 1969 and he got beat. Then my mother was mayor from 82 to 85, and then she was also on council, as was my father. He was on other boards and commissions after that as well.
Oh, wow. So are they still in politics?
No, regrettably they both passed more than 10 years ago. But they were actively involved in politics and boards right up until the end, I would think.
Yeah. And did you think that they influenced you to try to follow their footsteps?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And encouraged me in a good way. They encouraged us to do, as I said, the right thing, and told us that anything's possible. So if you thought about it, you could do it.
Mm-hmm. So obviously you were successful in your latest run. So tell us about the campaign and how that went.
Well, it was a little chippy. If you think about how a campaign should go, you think it's a debate and talking to people and convincing them to vote for you, and there was some of that. There weren't as many debates as I would have liked to, and some of them I was there by myself. So that wasn't how I had envisioned it, but we knocked a lot of doors. We heard from a lot of people. We got issues in terms of there came to be common threads fairly quickly about what the issues were.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your council right now. Are there new members? How's the council going since the new year started?
And, it's really been great. There hasn't been a lot of acrimony at all. We work together. We've got 4 veterans who've returned, and we've got 4 new councilors as well. So it's a good mix of new and old, and young and old. And people bring different viewpoints to the party, and it's good. We've had things we disagree on, but it's been professional. We make our points and move on, and it's been wonderful.
And how's it been going for you as a new mayor?
Well, it's been interesting. I mean, it's been 6 weeks, so it's not like there's a big history here, but we've had some things we needed to clean up from prior. We didn't have a ride-sharing service in town, so we were able to bring Uber to town to get that done. We had some issues with the Rotary where 2 of the 3 ice surfaces we had for hockey and figure skating and recreational skating were out of service, so we brought those back online. Now we're working on the budget, so we've got a lot of stuff in front of us.
Right. So what are some goals, not only for you, but for council this year for Orillia?
Well, I think the goal is to certainly advocate, to work together. The issues we heard at the door were fairly common. The high cost of living, finding a doctor, dealing with the homeless. We need to deal with those problems, and I think they're important. Now, can we make more doctors? No, we can't, but we can advocate and help bring more doctors to Orillia and encourage them to do the right thing and come and work and play in Orillia.
So how has it been creating a new council out of the pandemic?
Well, it's been interesting. I call it Hollywood Squares. Everyone's on TV. There's these little squares. I don't like that. I want people in the building. So I've said, hey, we're going to do it in person. So we've had meetings in person. I think that's worked fine. There's more of a collegiality, and you have sidebar conversations with people versus if you're on TV, you don't, or in a Zoom, you don't. So I think it's been quite helpful to have people on location.
Is there anything else that you've enjoyed so far? Like you said, only 6 weeks, but anything that's really kind of stood out, newly elected
I like
mayor?
meeting people. It's interesting when people say, "What do they call you?" And I'm like, it's always been Don, and I'm good with Don. But it's some people say Your Worship or Mr. Mayor, and that's interesting. People have something to say to you when you talk to them. They always have a point. They say, this has worked out well, and if you could look at this. So it's quite interesting because you get 1,000 different points of light in terms of people asking for input or help, and it helps formulate what you do going forward.
And have you settled in as a mayor so far, you and your family?
Well, I think so. I don't. There haven't been people outside of City Hall with pitchforks and lanterns yet, so that's
Yet, right?
probably gets yes coming. Who knows what happens next week? But so far so good.
That's awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you in studio today. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the citizens of Orillia or anybody that's watching Rogers TV?
No, I just asked people to keep me honest. I gave everyone my cell number, and if you think I'm doing the wrong thing, call. It might not be a pleasant conversation, but at least it'll be a conversation.
It's a conversation.
And I listen.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here in studio with us today. Orillia Mayor Don McIsaac, newly elected. Congratulations.
Thank you, Madison. The pleasure's been mine.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Info Simcoe, and we'll see you next time.